Do you remember the exact moment you stopped being a kid? Not in years. Not the birthday where you officially became a teenager. The actual moment. Maybe it was the day you realized you had to be the strong one. Maybe it was the night you heard crying through the walls and decided not to knock. Maybe it was the morning you started managing things that were never supposed to be yours to manage. There is a type of child who stops needing to be taken care of, not because they found independence, but because they understood early, and very clearly, that there was no one to ask. These children learned to read the room before they learned to read. They became small adults, and most of them lived their entire childhood without a name for what was happening to them. Psychologists have one, and what they found about people who grew up too fast says something profound about who they become, what they carry, and what is still quietly waiting for them inside. The clinical term is parentification. It describes what happens when a child is placed in a role that was never meant to belong to them. And it doesn't always look dramatic. It doesn't require chaos. It doesn't require a home that looked broken from the outside. Sometimes it's far quieter than that. It's the child who listens carefully when a parent talks about their problems, who learns which parent is in a bad mood and adjusts their behavior before anyone says a word, who feels personally responsible for the emotional temperature of the house. Psychologist Gregory Jerkovic spent decades studying this. He identified two forms. The first is instrumental parentification, when the child takes on physical responsibilities, cooking, cleaning, managing money, looking after younger siblings. The second and more invisible is emotional parentification, when the child becomes the emotional support system, the listener, the peacemaker, the one who holds the family together by holding their own feelings inside. Both leave marks, but emotional parentification tends to leave deeper ones, because it doesn't just ask the child to act older, it asks them to feel older, to set aside curiosity, play, and need in exchange for stability. These children often look completely fine. They get good grades, they're dependable. Adults describe them as mature. And that word, mature, is one of the most quietly damaging things you can say to a child who is hurting. Because what adults are really saying is, your pain has become invisible to me, and I'm grateful for it. Researcher Nancy Chase, who studied the parentified child in adulthood, found that these individuals often describe their childhoods as normal, not as a burden, just as life. It was all they had ever known. There was no before to compare it to. And so they kept going, because that's what they did. That's what they had always done. And so they kept going, because that's what they did. That's what they had always done. Here's where the science becomes difficult to hear. What growing up too fast actually does is fundamentally reshape the nervous system. Developmental psychologist Bruce Perry, who spent 30 years studying how early experience shapes the brain, found that children who take on adult roles early live in a state of near constant low-grade stress. Not crisis, just readiness. Their nervous system learns one rule above everything else. Stay alert, scan for problems, anticipate what others need before they ask. This becomes automatic, a background process running at all times. Not paranoia, just a setting that never turns off. The body doesn't learn how to relax because it was never shown that relaxing was safe. Trauma researcher Pete Walker identified a response he called fawn. Most people know fight, flight, or freeze. Fawn is what happens when a child learns that the safest thing to do is to immediately tend to the needs of the people around them. Before tension builds, before disappointment appears, monitor the mood, adjust, smooth things over. It isn't weakness. It's one of the most sophisticated survival strategies a child can develop, so effective that it kept things stable. The problem is that the body doesn't know when the emergency is over. The child grows up, the environment changes, but the nervous system still runs the old code. They still scan rooms. They still put everyone else first automatically. They still feel responsible for other people's feelings even when they have nothing to do with it. Researcher Bessel van der Kolk found that emotional experiences like these are stored not just as memories, but as physical patterns in the body. The tension in the shoulders, the shallow breath, the inability to fully rest even when everything around them is calm. These are not character flaws. They are the body remembering a time when rest was a risk it couldn't afford to take. And so, who does this child become? They become someone extraordinarily capable. often the most reliable person in every room they enter, the one people turn to, the one who gets things done without being asked. But inside that capable exterior, there is often something much harder to see. A person who doesn't know how to receive. When someone offers help, they say, "No, I'm fine." When someone asks how they are, they deflect. When they're struggling, they disappear. Not because they don't want connection, because being needed was where they felt safe. Being needy was not. Psychologist Diana Fosha described what she called warded-off states. The emotional experiences the body learned to block because expressing them created more problems than it solved. For many people who grew up too fast, those blocked states include vulnerability, dependence, and the simple act of asking for what they want. There is also something that appears again and again in the research, a difficulty with identity. When you spend your most formative years focused on everyone else's feelings, you don't spend much time developing a sense of your own. Not your responsibilities, not your values born out of obligation, your actual desires, what makes you come alive, what you want for yourself when nobody needs anything from you. Many people who grew up too fast describe a quiet confusion in adulthood, a sense that they know how to function, but not quite who they are underneath the functioning. And perhaps most persistently, a deep tiredness that never fully lifts, because they have been working since before they were supposed to start, and no one ever told them that they were allowed to stop. Here's what the research eventually arrives at. Somewhere inside every person who grew up too fast, there is still a child who never got to be one. Developmental psychologists have documented when children are denied access to their own developmental stage. The experiences don't disappear. The needs don't dissolve. They go underground. They surface in unexpected moments, in the way someone falls apart over something small because the real weight has been held in for years, in the sudden, wordless longing for someone to just take care of something for once, in the anger that rises when they feel taken for granted because somewhere deep, they were. John Bowlby, whose work on attachment changed everything we understand about emotional development, argued that the need for safe dependence never disappears. It evolves. It changes form. But the need itself remains. And when that need was met with unavailability in childhood, the person doesn't stop needing. They stop showing. They become very skilled at not needing anything. And they call it strength. And others call it strength. And they believe it. But there is a moment that many of them describe, often in their 30s, sometimes their 20s, sometimes much later. A moment when someone does something small and kind, and instead of deflecting, they cry. And they don't entirely know why. What they're feeling is grief. Grief for the childhood that was spent in service of everyone else. Grief for the child who did everything right and still was not held. That grief is not a breakdown. That grief is recognition. If this sounds like you, there is a question worth sitting with carefully. When was the last time someone took care of you? Not because you asked, but because they noticed and you let them. Because what was taken from people who grew up too fast isn't just youth. Youth passes for everyone. What was taken was the experience of being allowed to need, of being held when you couldn't hold yourself, of someone saying quietly, "I see that this is hard. I've got this. You rest." Learning to receive that is not weakness. It is something that was supposed to happen and didn't. And it can still happen. Not in childhood, but in the relationships you choose now. In the way you speak to yourself in the hard moments. In the times you decide slowly to let someone in. The child who is strong because they had to be does not have to stay strong forever. They just never got the message that it was allowed to be otherwise. There is something remarkable about people who grew up too fast. They carry a kind of depth that only comes from having to understand the world before you are ready for it. They read people well. They show up when it matters. They build things that last. They endure. And they do all of this quietly, without needing recognition for it. But here's what I want to leave you with. The capability that carried you through everything you weren't supposed to be carrying is not something you earned through suffering. It was always in you. The suffering just made sure you never stopped to notice that. And if somewhere, quietly, you're still waiting for someone to say, "You've done enough, you can put it down now," someone should have taken care of this for you. Then let this be that. You are not too much. You are not too sensitive. You are not too complicated. You are a child doing an adult's job. And that was never yours to carry. If this found you somewhere real, leave something in the comments. There are more people here than you know who grew up the same way. And if you want to keep exploring this kind of psychology, subscribe. The next video might show you something about yourself you didn't know you were still holding.